Today we're going to put a tailgate assist on my Ram 1500 05 Ram, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Here's what you're going to need. You're going to need the tailgate assist. You're going to need a T45 Torx M5 Allen wrench, pair of pliers, 10mm, 13mm, 17mm wrench socket, and a tape measure. So let's get started. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take our nut insert tool, which is right there, measure 3/4 of an inch from the top of the tool to the first washer there, and that's how far out you want it. You want to tighten that nut. Now this part gave me some trouble. I had to do this part probably 10 times, and that's no lie. I don't know what I was doing wrong. I don't know what I did right to actually make it work. But what you're going to do is you're going to stick your nut insert tool into that hole on your tailgate. That's real close to the pivot point. You're going to hold that 10mm end with a wrench, with a 10mm wrench, and you're going to turn the nut clockwise 360 degrees 9 times. That's what the directions say you're going to do. Okay, like I said, tried it 10 times. I could not get that nut insert tool to actually set in that tailgate. It was always loose or didn't do anything. So finally I got a little frustrated. I actually put my weight into that 5mm wrench there and just started turning that nut. I actually lost track of how many times I was actually turning it, but I could tell it was getting tight and it was actually setting. So I did it a couple more turns, and luckily it did set. So not sure what I did. I just put some weight into it and it set. Anyway, don't over tighten that because you will strip the threads out. So just warning you, do not over tighten. Make sure you remember how many times you turn. If you have to mark that nut, mark the nut, but make sure you remember how many times you do that. Just letting you know. Had a little trouble with it, but it did work. All right, we move on. Now you're going to take the ball mount, the small ball mount. I made sure it fit first. Made sure that that nut insert there wasn't turning or anything like that. Make sure it was set. Then what you're going to do is you're going to put some Loctite on this this cable ball mount, and then put it back into the nut set there and tighten it up with 13mm wrench. I was very careful not to over tighten that, just so I didn't disturb the whole nut set thing. Anyway, now we're going to go to the tailgate cable, the upper part there, and we're going to remove that the cable mount with the T45. Now I'm slowing this down a little bit to explain that this was not an easy process. If your truck's anything like mine, this is a bugger to get out. I actually broke the first T45 Torx socket, just snapped it right off trying to get this thing out. If you got impact wrench, use the impact wrench. It will save you lots of time and lots of hassle. It'll be a lot easier. I used WD-40, sprayed it in there a little bit, kind of started tweaking, turning, and it finally did come loose, and it did come out. But like I said, that was kind of a pain. I broke a T45 Torx out of the deal. Luckily, it was just my cheap Harbor Freight. Not a big deal. Had another one. We got it out, but like I said, impact wrench probably would work a lot better trying to get that out. So anyway, just want to tell you guys that was maybe a little hard, but definitely came out. And then we move on. What you're going to do next then, after you get that out, is basically take your cable ball mount, the bigger one, and insert it into that bolt you just took out. So here's me putting some Loctite on the bigger cable mount bolt, and we're gonna put it in there and tighten it up. I believe we used a 17mm. Was that correct? Let's see. Oh, there's a washer also in there too. Make sure you put that washer in. And there's your 17mm wrench. We're going to tighten that up, and there it is. All right. Now we're going to the bottom end of the the cable. We're going to take out the that nut, and there's this limiter on the end of this cable. We need to take out that limiter. It's just a piece of metal with like a flap or whatever. You can see I'm taking it out, and then we're going to reinstall that back in there. Now, I didn't show this, but what you do with this cap, it's like just a plastic cable clip, I guess is what they call it. But you're going to measure 3.5 inches down from the end of that cable and attach this cable clip with a pair of pliers. That's pretty much all you do. Alright, we're going to take the shock, the big end of the shock, stick it into the top, make sure that's secure. It just pops right in. The bottom end, same thing, pop that in. And that's it. You're done. I closed the tailgate just so I could look in there to see what everything is doing when I'm closing the tailgate, and as you can see, everything folds up real nice, real neat. No issues on the tailgate closing at all. It closed beautifully. Everything seemed to work, and I was real happy with that. And I'll show you a couple times here of me demonstrating. I should have showed you what it was like before, but I didn't want to break my tailgate. It came down real fast. Here's me opening the tailgate, and I'm letting it go. You can see it drops a little bit, and then it catches, and there's my hand, nothing up my sleeve, no tricks. There it is. Nice and slow. It worked perfect. I couldn't be more happier with it. Once again, I closed it and made sure everything was tucked up there nicely. Let it go again. And that's about how slow it goes. And it didn't feel like it was heavier when I closed it at all. And that was it. It was good to go. Like I said, a little tricky some parts, but thanks for watching. Thumbs up, works great.